Welcome back to the Clutch Entrepreneurs Podcast. Today we got a special guest. My man came from the slums of Mexico to now owning over 30 companies, generating over 8 figures in revenue every year for the last 2 years in a row.
Yes,
So
sir.
my guest is Carlos Reyes. I'm blessed to say he's my mentor, and we came a long way, and it's crazy seeing your rise, man.
Thank you, brother. I said, I can say the same for you, man. The last 2 years have been magical for both. Right. We've grown in our respective journeys, and I think we're just getting started, baby.
I think so too, man. And I say it's crazy seeing your rise, bro, because you're like breaking through crazy levels. Like we're out here just watching. Now you're on stages with Ed Mylett, Andy Frisella, Dave Meltzer, some of the biggest names in motivational speaking. Right, and like you're, it's like a pioneer in the real estate investing niche.
Yes,
right.
Sir.
So when we first started, I started 3 years ago.
Yeah,
and I came to your event, and I was just trying to learn about wholesaling, and now luckily, like with your education, you're able to help guys like me get to this level, and so we're able to operate 7-figure wholesale companies.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, thank you for being here, bro.
For sure, bro.
And just being being able to be a part of this whole journey.
Let me talk about that, by the way. There's a book called The Hero's Journey, and it talks about how, this one person leaves the village, goes and, improves himself and scales, and then comes back and brings all that with him, to pass on to his people. For me, I've always been like that. Like I come from nothing. I come from the slums. For those of you that don't know my story, I was born in Mexico, Hermosillo, Sonora. Show! It's a thing in Mexico, bro. But Hermosillo, Sonora, I was raised in Guaymas, Sonora. I was raised in a house that my grandfather built with his bare hands, like dirt floors, plywood, 4x4s, laminate roof, a back house, like a whatever you would call it, to go use the restroom in the back, right? Yeah. He built that too. What else? We didn't have a stove. We had like fire. You know what I mean? We had fire. We had
like a real fire with wood.
Yeah, that's how my grandma would cook with a big old metallic square. It's called a comal,
Yeah.
And right on top of fire, that's how we would warm up our water. That's how we would cook. You know what I mean? Yeah, bro. It's
next level.
It's third world.
Yeah.
It's third world. You know what I mean?
Some people, they say they're from the bottom. That's the bottom.
No,
there's like levels to the bottom.
Yeah. I'm on my Slumdog Millionaire type of stuff. You know what I mean? What else? We showered out of a bucket. We didn't have sewer, like a running, we didn't have running water, man. And our electricity, we didn't have electricity. We had butane lamps. My grandma had about 4 to 6 of those lamps in a glass with the fire, and then you open it and you got the butane there, and then you little.
That was your light.
That was my light, that was my light.
Was it like a ranch, or what was it, like a ranch?
No. We were in the mountains. So in Mexico, when you don't have a lot of money, you live in the mountains, and when you have some money, you live in brick homes in the city. Okay. Right here in America, if you have a lot of money, you live in the mountains, right?
Yeah.
It's totally opposite, right?
Uh-huh.
But yeah, man, I'm very grateful for where I come from, because I feel like that was a big part of my driving force to get to where I am today, because, you know, I was so poor, and I was always in constant pain that the poverty brought to me and my family, that all I ever wanted to be success. I just wanted to be successful. I just wanted to be successful, you know, like that was my thing. I'm like, one day I'm going to be successful. I didn't know what that looked like. You know, I don't know what I was going to do. I knew that I wanted to own a business, you know, and one day I told my mom, when I was like 5, 6 years old, we were walking into my grandma's house. We were walking up this little hill. I remember this. I remember like it was yesterday. She had me with the right hand. I look up at her. I said, Mom, one day you're never going to have to worry about money again. I'm going to have my own business, and I'm going to take care of us. And here we are. You know, I retired her in 2017, and it's been a blessing, bro. Like my whole life, my whole journey, you know, right now I'm the wealthiest I've ever been. I'm the healthiest I've ever been. I'm the happiest I've ever been. And that's why you've seen some of my rise, you know, over these last 2 years, because I went after what was important, and that was me, like internally, you know, mentally, spiritually, physically. I made it all align. I made it all connect. I got rid of, well, God got rid of some of the toxicity, right? Remember, we're talking about this just to say, hey, either God's going to remove or you're going to remove, right? In many cases, we're too weak to remove the people that we should be removing because of our human nature to attach ourselves emotionally, right? Emotionally, even physically, you know, think about it, right? Like, how many girlfriends have you had where it was really tough for you to separate yourself from that person mentally, emotionally, and physically, right? It's the same. That's just what human, you know, we're human, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, God starts to remove, and at first, you know, there's some anxiety involved, and you're kind of like, Lord, what are you doing? Why is this happening? And then eventually you're like, wow, now I see what you did, because I'm in a much better situation now. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about, man. It's been a great journey, bro.
Yeah, and that's always intrigued me, right? Like, because that's why, like, my first question is like how you grew up and where you're from, because it always intrigued me, like how people that come from like where you come from, how that can actually level you up to this type of success. Because most people's success stories are like that, right? Because if, let's just say you have a son and you're already living at this level of success, what are the chances of him carrying that legacy on? Because he already has everything.
But let me tell you this, right? So there's a huge difference, and this is what I'm focusing on now with my children. I'm not going to give them all the things I didn't have. I'm going to teach them all the things that I wasn't taught. You see?
Yeah.
So I have to solely base my ability to bring them up in the world as, you know, productive members of society and successful people through the programming that I pour into them, through, you know, the knowledge, the wisdom, right? And also by the example that I set. If they see daddy speaking to, you know, thousands of people on a stage, well, guess what they're going to want to do? Speak to thousands of people on a stage. If they see dad, you know, doing business and making millions of dollars, what do you think they're going to want to do? You see, it's just programming, bro.
That's true.
That's what they're going to get to see that I didn't get to see, right? Now, what did I see my mom doing? I saw my mom hustling. I saw my mom never giving up. I saw my mom sacrificing, right? I saw my mom doing all those things. So therefore, I grew up watching this person, and then I'm like, okay, you know, I have work ethic from her. You know, I have commitment from her. You know, I think big like her. Right. I have courage because of her. You know, I grew up with a single mother, and I learned all my game. I learned everything that I am, everything that I have from her, you know. So that's what, you know, a lot of people out there that are maybe already are successful or have a lot more than they had when they were kids. Just make sure that you're pouring into your children, man, because one day I remember my wife, you know, my wife was like, she goes, it hit me like a ton of bricks, man. She goes, what do we got to do to get you to spend time with us? Do we got to pay you? I was like, oh man, you know, I was like, oh man, this is not good. She's like, yeah, because guess what? You're pouring into everybody else, and they're going to pour into their children. Who's pouring into your children? I was like, oh,
That's deep.
but that's the wife, you know, like, you know, she holds me accountable to a much higher caliber, a much higher level. And that's why she's my wife. And, you know, that's why, I owe a lot of who I am, what I am to her, you know, because she came from a family, you know, background, you know, like her mom and dad are still together. My mom and dad were not, you know, they did family functions. I didn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They celebrated holidays. I didn't, You see?
Yeah.
So, she had a home. Her home was her happy place. Her home was her sanctuary. I never wanted to be home. My mom was never home. My mom was always working, and home only reminded me of poverty. So I was always out on the street, So again, man, that only shows that, finding the right woman, right, putting yourself next to the right person will also have an impact and an immediate effect on your ability and your capacity to grow as a person.
Yeah, I like that a lot because we were talking about this a lot yesterday. I met your wife, and she's you could tell she's a good woman.
Yeah,
and that's always been something for me too, to make sure I pick the right woman, because they could either bring you down or they can level you up.
Absolutely, man. I heard San Antonio. It's kind of hard to find a good girl out there. You know what I mean? Because San Antonio is a whole different ball game, right?
Yeah. So
inside joke.
Yeah. So so
shout out to 210 Chic.
Shout out to 210 Chic. So I had a question. So we know where you come from.
Yeah.
So that's type of poverty people kind of don't even understand if you're born and raised in America, because you can go to the slums and you still got electricity, you still got running water. Yeah. It's a different.
Or you got government help.
Yeah, it's just different.
You're right, man. There's people here in this country who think they have it bad.
Yeah.
They don't have it bad. They're just victims. Mm-hmm. They victimize themselves. They're not even. Yeah, you can say like, oh man, I'm a product of my environment, right? I could have said that and took the easy way out.
Yeah.
Easy way out, right? Oh man, I'm a victim of the circumstance. I could have said that, and if I didn't turn out to be anything, nobody would have said anything because he grew up with a single mom. He grew up poor. His mom doesn't speak English. He was an immigrant. It could have been easy for me to just be like a regular dude.
Yep.
Right, but man, you were with me last night, bro. You know how big I think. Mm-hmm. I'm a big thinker.
Yeah,
I'm a big thinker. Big, and I say that in a humble way. I am a big thinker. I don't think that there's any limitations. There is no limits. The only limits that I see are the ones that I'm willing to impose on myself, and I don't have any limits. I set out, and if you ask, my man Art, one of my really good friends and brothers, I set out a while back to achieve certain goals. I was like, you know what? I remember back in like 2019, 2020, I was like, you know what? I want to be one of the top national speakers.
Yeah. And why is that? Why is that?
Honestly, brothers, sometimes I just challenge myself to do some like crazy things. It's called your big, hairy, audacious goal, right?
Yeah.
I read a book called Scaling Up, and it talks about you putting together some goals that are just out there. They almost seem almost impossible, right? Mm-hmm. But for me, I was like, I want to be one of the top speakers in the country. And guess what happened?
Mm-hmm.
I started to become one of the top speakers in the country, right? When the top speakers in the country start to recognize you, you're becoming a top speaker in the country.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
And we've been seeing it from the real estate community. So it's like you're breaking through the barrier.
Yes, sir. Yes,
right.
Sir.
So
yes, sir.
All In, your brand All In. It's one of the biggest brands in our niche, if not the biggest brand in our niche.
Education space.
In the education space of the real estate investing.
Yes, sir.
And it's definitely inspired me. It inspired me to make my own
Now you
brand.
got clutch, baby.
Yes, sir.
If you ain't talking about clutch, you ain't talking about nothing.
So
you got to get that. Yeah, Sheik's gonna put that somewhere. Yeah.
So tell me about the brand All In. So it's you pioneered your way in that.
It started in 2016, and you know who was an original member of All In back in the day?
You were telling me.
Keith Everett.
Keith Everett. Yeah. We're just talking about him at lunch.
So All In started with a medical commodities group. Right, so I used to be a wholesaler for medical commodities with like test strips and all kinds of other diabetic supplies, right? And my man Keith, he was part of that first like few people from All In Entrepreneurs, and I was like, that was the first little community that I built. I was constantly, encouraging them to do better. Like people were selling me medical devices and medical commodities, and that was All In, right? And then 2 years later, we threw All In, All In Nation, All In Entrepreneurs presents, Momentum. That was June of 2018, right? And then we threw another one September of 2018. Then we threw another one February of 2019. Then we threw another one. It was November of 2019.
That's when I came.
You see what I'm saying? Like we just started throwing these events, and we started giving away the game. Like the first 2 events, brother, my first event, I had 78 people in my first event. In 2 weeks, we're going to have over 1,000 people in our event, you know? That's in 4 years.
That's crazy.
That's in 4 years. We're going to have over 1,000 people at All In Freedom. May 13th, May 14th, DoubleTree Resort, Scottsdale, Arizona. We're 95% capacity. Grab your seats. There's probably about 100 seats left. So, you know, they're definitely going to fly this week. So just get on that as soon as you can. If you are interested in some of the best education in the game from some of the top educators in the game, right? But 78 people, man, my first event, 78 people. I charged $5,000 at that time. That was called Momentum. That was for more higher scale people, people that were already making, you know, hundreds of thousands, if not millions. We give away all the game. We give away the marketing strategies, the personnel, you know, the hiring, the firing, the systems, the processes, the corporate structure. We were giving away everything at the executive level. You know what I mean? So everybody like, you know, Ryan Pineda, Donovan Ruffin, Keith Everett, Gio Morado, Pace Morby, the list goes on and on. They all came and learned, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why then the brand All In has produced more multimillionaires in the space of real estate than any other brand in the history of real estate. Aside from like those big brands that are like publicly traded, you know, like what are those called? Fortune Builders and Rich Dad Poor Dad. Like that's a whole different niche. You know, we're a brand of the people. We're a privately owned company, and we really impacted and changed the trajectory of many people's lives. Like we help people make millions, man. Like we change lives, and that's one of the reasons why I got my reputation in the industry, because it's not the fact that me and Sal have flipped over 1,000 houses in the last 8 years. You know what I mean? No, it was the fact that we were able to come into this space, give the game away, and then 78 people started killing it, and then they started building their own communities, and they started educating Austin Rutherford, Tiffany Burns. They all came to our events, right? They all, Nick Perry. See, I mean, the name goes on and on and on, right? So so that's why All In became so powerful, and that's why the brand is so trusted, because you can't challenge the results. You know, results speak for themselves, bro.
Dang. So I'm lucky to have been one of those people, and I was at the one in 2019. And I remember being at the event, and I was like, what the? Like,
mind blown, huh?
I'm like, taking all these pictures. I'm like, are they really giving away all this game? Like, this is how you do it.
We give it
it's
all
literally
away.
the blueprint.
Yeah, we give it all away.
So you literally gave the blueprint how to make 7 figures.
Absolutely.
If you go
7
work.
figures, yes, sir.
And so I was like, wow, this is crazy.
Brother, if you have an IQ of a 12th grader, with the blueprint we give you, you should be able to make it happen. If you have work ethic and you put in the work and you follow the blueprint, it will happen. Because I've seen it happen with so many people across the country, in any market. Yeah,
and I've seen so many people too. And I interview them. They're all part of the All In umbrella, right? So I can definitely vouch for that. And if you're watching this right now, the event on May 13th and 14th, Freedom, we're giving away 5 free tickets.
Yes, sir.
All right. So if you're tuned in right now and you're still here with us, stay all the way to the end. And let's see. Let's pick a number 0 through 100. And me and Carlos will pick 5 winners. But you got to stay to the end, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Pick a number 0 to 100. And we're going to pick 5 lucky winners. All right. And
5 lucky winners to go to the #1 real estate event in the country. Right, you got Ed Mylett coming down. You got Brad Lee coming down. You got Andy, Andy's wife. I think Andy will be in the building. I don't think he's going to allow his wife to go up there and be the only female speaker, and then him not being there for support. But if he doesn't, it's whatever, right? That's their thing. But I think he'll be in the audience, and he might even say, "Hey, man, give me the mic. I want to say a few words. I'm going to get out the way." You know what I mean? Right? Remember I said that. Because it's like I really have a feeling like if he's in the building and he feels the electricity in the building, it's gonna change, bro. He's gonna be like, "Hey, man, I want to say a few words." I'm gonna be like, "Someone get this dude a mic."
Hell yeah,
right?
Hell yeah, Andy Frisella.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, that's what it is, man. We're just continuing to push the limits, man. We want to show people what's possible. We're just gonna continue to push the limits, because if people that are coming up under me are seeing, I just keep raising the barrier. I'm a good person to come up under.
Yeah,
I am. You know why? because you're living it, you're seeing it, you know, like by example, and then you're like, oh damn, he just leveled up. Okay, well, I'm gonna level up. Damn, he just leveled up again. Okay, I'm gonna leveled up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because just like I said earlier, hero's journey, I always bring it back. I always give game. If you talk about anybody that's in my circle, anybody that hangs around with me, I can't help myself but to pour into others. I think I'm like a natural teacher. You know, like I love to teach, bro. I love to teach, and I learn to teach. You know what I mean? When I'm learning to teach.
Yeah.
And that changes the game for me.
Yeah. And a lot of us have seen the evolving of Carlos Reyes, right? So like you went, I remember, so you went, the one that attracted me was the Rolls Royce,
baby,
with the
big
diamond
body
chains,
the big body, the $250,000 Rolls Royce with the $50,000 chain and the big boy watch and the pinky ring, right?
Yeah, but he's evolved, right?
I'm evolved, man. I think everybody goes through those phases, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I still got a little bling on me.
Yeah,
right. I still got I got a couple baguettes and a nice little wedding ring that I bought from Peter Marco down at Beverly Hills. But you know, it's like it's part of the evolution, man. It's part of the growing process, man. At some point, you know, you're just like, you know what? I don't need to do this. Now this gets me the people I need, right? Because I knew it was all a marketing game for me. You know, when I started doing that in 2018 and a little bit of 2019, it was all a marketing game for me.
Yeah.
The game changed for me back in 2020. Once I started 2019, I started my own spiritual journey, you know, my personal development, and my spirit just said, all right, you know, what got you here won't get you there. You're done. We're moving. You know, we're moving up. You know, we're moving on up. What got you here won't get you there. And I get it. You know, I get it, and I can see it in the people that I'm attracting. I'm attracting fathers. I'm attracting businessmen. I'm attracting mature individuals. I'm attracting people in their 20s and their 30s and their 40s. You know what I mean? I'm attracting people like me at this level right now, at this phase. So nothing wrong with being out there and, you know, having nice things and showing nice things. As long as you know your heart is always aligned, you know what I mean. Guard your heart above everything else, you know, because that is the well of good. You know, It's like guard your heart. You know, in front of, like don't let it go over your head. Don't get carried away. Don't let your pride and your ego and I'm too good, and you're no longer grounded, and you're no longer you're no longer that person that that was a down-to-earth person and was willing to talk to anybody and everybody. You know what I mean? Once that starts slipping away, man, your soul will just get out of alignment. And, you know, there's an old saying that says, pride goes before the fall, you know? So you got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen, by the way, in our industry, specifically to many people. They never outgrow that ego phase. You know what I mean? That ego phase. So
I got you. Yeah. So what is this so your mindset is obviously what's taking you to these next levels, right? You're never content. You're never happy. You always want to go to the next level. Now it's like serving, right? I see, because you're trying to serve more and more people. You're trying to get to a way bigger audience.
Yep.
What are some of and you talk a lot about alignment.
Yep.
Right. Being in alignment with your true self.
Absolutely.
Can you explain what that means?
Absolutely. So, you know, if you're a religious person and you read the Bible pretty much gives you all the wisdom and all the game that you're ever going to need. But you can also get that wisdom from other publications or other publishing, right? Like books, you know, Think and Grow Rich, The Magic of Thinking Big, David Schwartz, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. I mean, the list goes on, right? You can get, you know, that it's different, right? One of them is more of a religious thing, obviously, and the other one is more just of a mindset, you know, mindset thing, right? Energy thing, right?
Right.
But yet the desired outcome for both parties is the same, and that's for you to grow. That's for you to raise the calibration. You know what I mean? So when it comes down to growth and aligning yourself, man, like at the end of the day, you have to live in your truth. You have to learn it, and you have to live it. We can't sit here. If you're an imposter, you're never going to attract the right things.
Yeah.
If you're not living in your truth, you're not going to attract the right things. If you're sinning, right? But the Bible talks about, you know, sin is death. Sin is death, right? Well, when you're sinning, then you're not living in your truth. When you're lying, when you're cheating, when you're stealing, when you're gossiping, when you're being negative, when you're being jealous, envy, rage, right? Any of those sins, right? You're not going to live at peace. You're not going to live in love. You're not going to live. You're not going to have joy in your life, right? And the way that we create as human beings is the primary emotion on how we create businesses, how we create, graphics, how we create visuals, how we create anything in our lives is through love. If you think about it, how does a man and a woman create, right? It's through love, you know? So, the more that you live in a state of love, joy, and peace, the more that you're able to create. Well, how do you get to a state of love, joy, and peace? Well, you get rid of all the baggage, you get rid of all the people, all the habits, right? You get rid of all the noise, you get rid of all the negativity, all the toxicity. Get rid of it. Get rid of it, and you'll begin to have more peace, love, and joy, and you'll begin to calibrate at a much higher frequency.
Okay. And what are some, because you have a lot of mentors, right? You have a lot of coaches.
Yep.
What are, let's just like for the viewers, what are some simple techniques and habits and stuff that you've created that help you elevate to these higher frequencies that let you live up here?
Absolutely. So several years ago, it started for me with just massage therapy. I started getting massages. I was like, man, I'm a little stressed. I want to relax. I didn't really love myself the way I thought I did, and we all think we love ourselves until you know that you didn't, you weren't there yet.
Yeah.
So I started to get massage therapy, and it started with that. And then after massage therapy, I started to do meditation, and I started to do breath work, and I started to hike, and I started to enjoy the outdoors, and I started to then start taking care of my body, like I started really, really honing in and focusing on taking care of my body April of 2021. It's been over a year, and I've lost over 50 pounds. And if you see me in about a year, I'll probably be in better shape, God willing, because now it's a lifestyle. This isn't just a temporary fix. This is a lifestyle for me now moving forward. You know what I mean? So self-care, man, self-care, self-love, you can start there, and then you can start getting a little deeper,
Okay. So those are some quick tips for
some minor tips, man.
So like, how important are those things to your success?
Very important. It's the foundation. If you don't love yourself, you're never going to truly achieve the things that you want to achieve. If you don't love yourself, you're not going to be the healthiest version of yourself. You know what I mean? So the way I see it is you have to make sure that you get your framework right, because our exterior world is a reflection of what? Our interior world. You know what I mean? And in many cases, it starts with the mind, because our mind, our thoughts become chemicals. And you know what those chemicals are called? Emotions. And then those emotions, in the form of those chemicals, they get out to your central nervous system, and then now you begin to feel. You see what I'm saying? That's when they become emotions. Thoughts become chemicals, chemicals become emotions, emotions become actions. Emotions become lifestyles, you see, habits, symptoms, So that's why you got to start with the foundation of yourself. You got to build on a strong foundation. And it starts there, man. It starts with the mind. I think that's the first thing. It's like mind, body, spirit. Mind, body, spirit.
Okay. And so like in achieving goals, because you're like hitting crazy goals, right? Like, so now you got the event of over 1,000 people.
Yes, sir.
With the biggest names in public speaking.
Yes, sir.
You got the real estate business doing 8 figures. How do you?
Well, the goal is 8 figures this year.
The goal is 8 figures this year.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what? Like for somebody that's like trying to make things happen, they can't make it happen, right? What is it that you do to, when you set a goal, to make it happen? And especially these big goals. What are you doing different than everybody else?
Well, in many cases, you got to get out of your own way. You got to do a true self-evaluation to see. We can't immediately point at the external, right? We have to see first. We have to start with us, right? Because it starts and it ends with us. It's like we have to see, okay, what am I thinking? Or is it my thoughts, right? What am I feeling? Is it my emotions? Or am I dealing with some deep-rooted trauma, deep-rooted issues? You know, is there resentment in my life? Is there pain in my life? You know, because they say that 86% of the world lives in pain, and pain comes in different forms. It could be the pain of being unhealthy. It could be the pain of not loving yourself. It could be the pain of a toxic relationship. It could be the pain of not having money. That's all pain. You see what I'm saying? So you have to really evaluate yourself to see, all right, is it me? What am I not doing? Because everything, you see, at one point you want to go from victim mindset to victor or champion mindset, which is like, things are not happening to me, they're happening for me. And what happens to me happens by me. You see? So that's the first thing, man, is accountability. Like holding yourself accountable, holding yourself to a higher standard, and knowing that you are in control. Yeah. That you are in control. You can't place the finger at everything else. You can't place the finger at your mom, at your dad, at your teachers, at your friends. No, it's you. You're responsible.
Right.
You're responsible. So I think that's where people definitely need to start.
Right. So so we saw your journey, right? You told us how you started, where you're at now. How did you get into real estate? Why did you choose real estate?
So my dream was always I don't know, my phone keeps, okay, good. So that was the wife, but she's cool. So my goal was always to become a police officer, defensive attorney, a Navy SEAL, or a real estate investor. You know what I mean? Oh, and a business owner. I wanted to always be a business owner, right? So those were my goals. And believe it or not, before I became an entrepreneur, back in like 2012, I tried out and I took the physical to be a police officer. I passed it, and I was taking the written test, and everything was good. And I was about to, just start the academy. A lot of people don't know this, but I asked, I'm like, okay, so what's the starting pay? I thought it was decent because, you're risking your life and you're putting in mad hours. They're like, oh, we're going to start you at $19.75 an hour. I was like, oh, man. I was already making more than that on my job.
Yeah.
I was already in the 20s, and I was like, man, that doesn't seem like a lot for me to be out there like dealing with like people and criminals and putting my life on the line and leaving my home and my family and, them knowing that God willing, he makes it back, So that, once I found out that there wasn't a lot of money, and don't get me wrong, I always wanted to serve, but that didn't play out because of that specific reason. I couldn't be a Navy SEAL. At one point, I want you to know that I was training to be a Navy SEAL.
Really?
I was training to go to what's called it's a BUDS training, a BUDS training. So I was swimming, I was running, I was doing all kinds of stuff to make sure that I could pass that Navy SEAL test. And then I found out that they started you at like $2,000 a month. And I was like, oh, man.
What?
I'm like, damn, I can't catch a break. And then I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll be a defensive attorney. And I was like, damn, 8 years of school? Yeah. You know what I mean? And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try to be a real estate investor. Well, how do I even become a real estate investor when I have no money, no credit, no license, right?
Yeah.
Found the book called Flip by Nick Ruiz. It was $10. It was a hard copy. I think he wrote this like 2009, 2010. And I just became consumed by the possibilities of, because he literally was, I believed him.
Yeah.
He literally said, you can become a multimillionaire in the game of real estate, and you don't have to come from money. You don't have to have all the knowledge in the world. You don't have to have credit or a license. And I was like, damn, that sounds like my kind of party, right? Like, yeah. I'm like, let's do that. So then, sure thing, man, that I was doing everything that book told me to do. Go put out 100 bandit signs this weekend. I put out 100 bandit signs every single weekend for 6 straight months. 2,400 bandit signs later, I get a call by a Mexican lady who was a distressed landlord. She was tired of being a landlord and she didn't want to rent out the house again. And we worked out a deal. I made $5,000 at that time, which is still to this day. My first deal is the smallest deal I ever closed. I looked at the $5,000 check and I was like, damn, I usually have to, I got to work a day for, I got to work a full month for this.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I did it in just a few hours. I didn't really do it in a few hours because it took me 2,400, but that was my mind, right? Yeah. I'm like, right. I got the phone call. I went to her office. We went to Starbucks. She signed the contract. I signed the contract. I made $5,000. I'm like, let's do that again, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, once I had that proof of concept, it just changed everything. It changed everything because I feel like if you can do it once, you can do it 1,000 times, and we've done it over 1,000 times.
Dang, so Carlos Reyes was out there putting up bandit signs himself.
Yes, sir.
Dang.
All
Okay,
day,
so
baby.
you really started from the bottom.
From the bottom. I was out there putting bandit signs on in my wife's. The year was 2014. I was out there putting bandit signs in a 2008 Nissan Rogue. Like not even the top version. It was like the SL, like the entry. You know.
Yeah.
I think we paid like $6,000 or $7,000, and even at that time, man, for my wife and I, like that was a lot of money for us to pay. We put like $1,000 down, and our payment was like $300 to $400. Like I remember all of this, man. You know what I mean? Now it's like,
and then you figured out how to scale.
I started figuring out how to scale in 2017.
Okay. So how long? What year did you start wholesaling?
14. So for 3 years, it was just me and Sal.
Really?
I was handling, you know, the calls. I was handling the transactions. I was handling the dispos. I was handling the back end. You know what I mean? He was handling finances. He was handling integration systems, processes. And in 2017, we had our first successful hire, which was Adrian Salgado, as an acquisitions manager that alleviated about 80% of my workload. And then I started building and working on the company instead of inside the day-to-day stuff.
Dang, I didn't know you've been doing this since 2014.
Yes, sir. I'm an OG in the game now.
Yeah, you are an OG in the game.
Right.
I thought y'all started in like 17.
Oh, no.
So you did 3 years by yourself.
Yes, sir.
Man, that's crazy.
With
So
Sal.
this is the importance of mentorship, guys. It took him 3 years to get his first successful hire. And he's been through all this, right?
It took you like a year or less, right?
Well, I'm just saying, I'm 3 years in the game, and
you're way ahead already.
For having mentors like you, I'm already having like I'm not even at my office right now, and we sold 3 deals like while we were at lunch.
That's the thing that people see. A lot of our people, specifically our communities, and you know the way that we grew up, we're like, we're gonna pay who for what?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's education.
Yeah.
It's education, it's mentorship, it's guidance. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that person's going to fast track your growth. He's like, brother, I'm about to pay a 9-figure guy $10,000 a month, like for 3 straight months. So I'm going to pay him $30K.
To do what?
To mentor me for 3 months.
A 9-figure guy.
Yes, sir. Once a week.
Can you tell us who it is or no?
Bobby Castro.
Bobby Castro.
He's, he owns over, I think he sold his real estate portfolio for $4 billion. So, yeah.
He's going to be your personal mentor.
Yes, sir.
That sounds like a deal. 30 grand to learn from a billionaire.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Man, that's crazy. Because you got big goals. We were talking yesterday and you were telling me, can I say some of your goals?
Yeah.
You're trying to get a jet. You're trying to fly all over the nation.
Yeah.
Do your motivational speaking.
Yes, sir.
Now, those are big goals.
Yes, sir.
So that's crazy.
Yeah, man, it's you know, I want to continue to spread the message, you know, and it's costing me money not to at this point too. Like it makes sense on a contribution level and it makes sense on a monetary level. You know what I mean? So I got to get a jet, man. A jet is a time machine. I'd rather get a jet than get a $500,000 car. You know?
Yeah. So what does All In consist of now? Like, so all your real estate businesses. What does that consist of now? Like, what is your main focus? Because I know y'all do like a lot of virtual flipping.
Yeah.
Now, right?
So for us, man, on the real estate side, you know, we 10 virtual acquisition managers, 1 sales director who oversees them.
Okay.
I got a dispo manager. I got an asset director who handles all my flips. You know, he handles our inventory warehouse. He handles our projects, our GCs, our transaction coordinator, the listing realtor, communicates on a weekly basis with our private money, sends them a spreadsheet so they can know where, you know, all the money, what their money's doing, how it's working, right? So, I mean, I have everything pretty much automated and delegated, man. And, you know, our goal is to hit $10 million this year. If we get to 8 or 9, I mean, I'll still be happy because that's only on the single family residential area. We are also going to try to acquire 500 doors in the multifamily asset class.
Okay. So always big moves with Carlos.
I'll try. I'm trying at least. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I know we've been talking about this, me and you and Art. So what's like the new virtual model with acquisition agents?
Yeah. So Call Geeks, right? Call Geeks out of Mexico, Egypt. You know, it took us about 60 days to really get dialed in. But once we got dialed in, I'll give you an example. The last 35 days, we have like 29 deals. I thought it was 29 deals and over $1.5 million in profit projected, right?
Dang.
You know, and it's all virtual.
All virtual.
And I love the virtual model because you can scale it, and it doesn't it doesn't take away from your net profitability. Does that make sense? Because you're going to pay a virtual person a lot different than you would an in-house person.
Yeah.
So it actually helps increase and improve your net profitability.
I could imagine. So how, like, what's their pay structure look like?
$650 an hour plus anywhere from $100 to $500 depending on the revenue produced.
Oh
per
my
deal. Yeah.
Oh my God. Your
Yeah,
net
that's
profit's going to shoot up like.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I got a guy, we just got a deal that I think we're already selling it in Mesquite, Nevada. We're making about $123K. He got a $500 bonus. He's happy.
And so you got virtual acquisition agents, and who dispose them?
Well, we have, which one though? The rehabs or just wholesale deals?
Just wholesale deals.
My dispo manager, John Acuna.
Oh, so
we wholesale nationally, but we only fix and flip and renovate physically in 3 different states: California, Nevada, and Arizona.
And what do you determine if I'm going to wholesale or if I'm going to flip?
Two things. One is revenue, and then 2 is the amount of time it will take to get that return.
Okay, so is it like 6 figures or something?
For the most part, I would say about 9 out of 10 of our renovations or flips are 6 figures now.
Yeah. And do they have to be like kind of like real clean?
Not necessarily, but we do like to get in and out of projects no more than about 60 days.
Okay, so they gotta be like lipstick, like
well, cosmetic takes us about 2 to 3 weeks, but even full renos where we dump 30, 40, 50, that takes us about 4 to 6 weeks. That's
super interesting to me because I could barely flip in my own market.
Yeah,
it sucks because we're dealing with contractors. So
well,
how do you deal with it?
I have a system. You know, I have systems and processes that we built out back in 2019 specifically for our fix and flip model. You know what I mean? And you're right. You know, a big part of that system is reliable people. So that's one of the biggest obstacles for any fix and flipper out there is reliable people. Yeah.
And you don't plan on keeping them. You like to because you're gonna get into a multifamily.
I have the same crew.
No, I mean the properties.
No, honestly, so we started actually liquidating our single family rentals because, brother, I'm telling you, like, we were making 300 here, 500 there, and we're like, wait a minute, we got to collect like 100 doors to even make 50K a month in passive.
Yeah,
we want to start going over some bigger projects like multifamily.
Yeah, but I mean, it has its tax advantages, right?
It does, but so does multifamily.
Right. Yeah. Okay,
and
but
so does a jet.
So does a jet. You're right about that. Yeah. On camera, if you get a jet, will I get a ride?
We got to work on that. Depends where you're going. The fuel's expensive. The fuel's like $9K an hour.
$9K an hour?
Yeah. In some jets. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so so I kind of see like the virtual acquisition model. That's the new wave.
Yeah. You know, it's not going to work for everybody, man, because it does take a good amount of patience and a good amount of commitment and a good amount of focus. You have to, your sales director or you, if you're the business owner and you're training on the acquisition side, you have to really pour into these people. They're human beings just like us. You have to pour into them like you were to pour into an in-house person. So it might take you 45 to 60 days for them to really start seeing some traction and some return.
Okay. But with with the call geeks, are they trained already?
It's plug and play. It's trained. They're trained for
They're already trained, ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But even if they're trained, I still recommend that you meet up with them every single day for like a while. You know what I mean? And that's what's been happening with our virtual acquisitions model. Our sales director meets with them every single day at 10 in the morning via Google Zoom or Google Chat. Sorry.
Okay.
Yep.
We might actually have to talk about that because I kind of want to go into some new areas.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind trying that out, some virtual stuff.
It doesn't hurt. And I think you got to commit to it for 60 days. And then it's just like anything else, numbers tell a story, numbers don't lie. At some point, you have to look at your KPIs and see if you're still getting a good conversion from your virtual acquisition managers. You know what I mean? You want to compare your lead to contract your lead to contract conversion, virtual versus in-house, and see how that goes.
Yeah. So going into the future, we see where you're going. You're breaking through barriers. Now you're getting into a whole nother level. What are your new goals moving forward?
My goal is $100 million in gross revenue produced by the end of 2025. 30 to 40 this year, 50 to 70 next year, and then 70 to 100 the following year. That's just a monetary target. Right. you know, I believe we will get there if we do what we got to do with the companies that we have. Because the way that I look at it now when it comes to the companies that we have is I look at the market cap. Like, what is the market cap? I'll give you an example. Ecom. Could ecom make me 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 million in a year? Absolutely. Real estate. What can real estate make me? Well, it depends on what asset class, right? Single family, 7 to 10 million. Multifamily, 5 to 10 million. You see, like, right? So now we're at, 20. See, like you start adding, right?
Yeah.
10 to 20, 10 to 20. You see, you start adding them, right? And then you go into like our virtual assistant company. How much can that make me? Okay, that can make me 12 to 15 this year in gross revenue. So you just start going down the line, and you start to really put your time, energy, and focus into the companies that have a bigger market cap with the higher probability of scaling.
Okay. And I mean, to me, that's crazy. Like how you're able to operate so many companies, but obviously it's with systems, processes that you have down.
And people and leadership. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that going into like education. So you're a mentor yourself. You were my mentor personally.
Yes, sir.
Are you still doing mentorship?
I'm no longer doing one-on-one mentorship. Like I told you earlier, I'm like, I don't do one-on-one mentorship. If someone wants one-on-one mentorship, what I'll do is it's like, hey, it's $100,000 for 6 months, but I will not let you. Our mentorship will not finish until you achieve $500,000 in gross profit. Not a bad return.
That's not a bad return at all. Okay. And so, for people watching, viewers, you do a lot of content. You do a lot of videos, educational stuff. Yeah. Where can they find you?
Carlos Reyes, CarlosReyes on Instagram. Pretty easy to find, man. Carlos Reyes. I'm one of the few Mexicans that has a blue check mark. Like I didn't even have papers a few years ago, right? I got a check mark now. So.
All right, guys. So look, we're giving away 5 free tickets to his event at Freedom. If you're still watching and you pick the number 0 to 100, me and Carlos are going to pick 5 people. So, if you want to drop another number 0 to 100 right now, boom, and we're going to pick 5 winners.
Look out for the comments, right? Is that where you're going to pick them?
Yeah, that's where we're going to pick them.
Got it.
Okay, so we're coming to the end of this. What would you leave as your final thoughts for the viewers?
Well, I would want to say, man, like, start working on yourself and get rid of all the things that don't serve you, moving forward, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to habits, when it comes to anything, it's like, how does this serve me? How does this serve others? You know what I mean? That's one thing. And then the other thing is like, have enough courage to overcome, all your personal challenges that you're going to face. Like have enough courage, stay in the game. What is success? Success is, going from failure to failure to failure to failure without losing momentum. That is success. And I always say this, that if you don't give up, right? If you don't quit, you will not fail. And if you don't fail, right? If you don't quit and you don't fail, then success is inevitable. So that's what I would love to say to anybody out there.
Okay, great. So guys, I hope y'all got a lot of inspiration and we're able to learn about real estate here. And I hope you're able to attend Freedom with us on May 13th and 14th. So we're going to pick 5 of y'all. So, I hope y'all drop those numbers. And until then, guys, we'll see you on the next episode. Stay clutch.
Clutch. Chubano chic.